This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody. 1, 2, 3, let me go.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. I am Billy Embody. We have a heck of a show, a really fun one for you. We have a great announcement to make, an interview to lead off the podcast with, and we'll get to that in just a second. But first, we are presented by our friends at StatusJet. StatusJet.com. Reach out to David Henry and his team today to get on the list of how you got to get all the information for SMU game days away from the hilltop. They can get you there from point A to point B with that level of luxury that you'd expect. You can also use code PonyUpACC for a discount on a round trip flight. Heck of a way to get out to Reno, to get out to Louisville, to get out to wherever you want to see the ponies play. And if you need to use it for work or for family, they can get you handled on that as well. So reach out to them, statusjet.com. They're proud supporters of SMU Athletics and also the On the Pony Express podcast. And get to planning early on your Thanksgiving or your Christmas vacations or ringing the new year somewhere incredibly beautiful with our friends at StatusJet. They can get you there or wherever you want to go from point A to point B with that incredible level of service. So appreciate StatusJet. Without any further ado, guys, we have big news on the Pony Express podcast. I am proud to announce that we are adding an analyst to the show this season and to the On the Pony Express family, a familiar face for many of our SMU fans out there and some of the AAC teams out there as well. We are proud to welcome back to the hilltop Hayden Howerton, former SMU offensive lineman, spent some time with the team this spring as well. And Hayden, this is so exciting for us to have you on the Pony Express, and we're thrilled to have you on.
Billy, thanks so much for having me, man. I'm so glad to be back and be involved with SMU in any way that I can. I just love this team, this university, and what it's done for me. And so now it's my time being done playing where I can stay involved and give back a little bit.
And look, you gave a lot to this university. I mean, you look at all the games that you played right off the bat, ranging all the way back to 2017. Not to pull that number out there, but we'll talk about your whole career and what you accomplished at SMU. But let's go back to the recruiting process. Katy High School. I mean, that's about as big as it gets in the entire country in terms of prestige, history, tradition. What was your high school experience like, and kind of leading yourself through that recruiting process and your family and friends that were with you along the way that ultimately led to SMU?
Yeah, no doubt, man. You said it. Prestige, tradition. That's what Katy High School is all about. I mean, it starts with their fearless leader, Coach Gary Joseph. He's a legend, 200-plus wins in high school, which he's been the head coach of the Tigers since 2004. I mean, he is a living legend in that town. Now, you give me too much credit, man. I was probably the 10th best player on our team. We just had those kind of guys that came through Katy High School. We had multiple NFL players, Big Ten players of the year. We just had a really, really incredible team, and it started with expectations, tradition, and most importantly, the culture back then. So with the high level of competitiveness that was at Katy High School, man, there was a lot of expectations to live up to. You had guys piling up 20, 30 offers out of high school. And guys were saying that the state championship is what really matters. And I will agree to that. That's what Katy High School is all about. The expectation when you come in the spring after the previous season is, if we don't win a state championship, this season is going to be a failure. So I was fortunate enough my junior year to play for and win a state championship. And that ring is one of my most prized possessions, I would say, just because what it represents. So after that season, I was fortunate to start stockpiling some offers, and I was able to nail and get down with SMU, and Coach Chad Morris and Dustin Fry and all those boys were able to land me and got in the Hilltop in the summer of 2017.
You had a great class that you came in. You look back on some of the guys that played a lot of downs for SMU in that class. I mean, Alana Lee, Tyler Page, Judah Bell, Elijah McQueen, Delano Robinson was actually one of the lower rated guys. Shane Haley. The list kind of goes on. That was a big group. What's the relationship like with that class that came in? And you guys, went on to win a lot of games, especially the back half of your career at SMU. And just how close knit is that group?
Man, Stang Gang 17 is what
I remember that hashtag. Oh my
the
God.
slogan was back then. But no, I saw a lot of those guys last week at our former players event that Coach Lashlee put on, and that was really cool reconnecting with those guys. Tyler Page was there, Delano Robinson, Shane Haley, and so being able to reconnect with some of those guys and talk about when we came in, freshmen living in the dorms, and just we're able to really kind of become a tight-knit group that we look up at the end of 2021. And it's like, man, we did this. We were able to help turn this program around and at least start building the foundation for what this team is now today.
And I mean, what was it like going into the Chad Morris offense? And tell everyone what we talked about before. You actually came in 260.
Yes, sir.
And ended up, having quite the story to ending up starting 6 games as a true freshman, and then you go on to be 53-game starter and the all-time leader in games played at SMU.
Yes, sir. That was an amazing experience coming in, starting early as a freshman. If there's any young offensive linemen listening, I would definitely say that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to come in, red shirt, get stronger, get a year off, because really you're going to be better as a 22-year-old than you're ever going to be as an 18-year-old. But I was given the opportunity at the beginning of the season. Coach Fry came up to me and was like, hey, we're not going to redshirt you. We're going to lean on you a little bit, and we expect you to be a serious player for us one day. So kind of got in early, was able to get some snaps under my belt before an injury in the Cincinnati game where we went to overtime. My freshman year thrust me into a starting role and started every game from there. But what you were alluding to, I came to SMU at 260 pounds, which is crazy light for an offensive lineman. Like SMU would not recruit me nowadays because of that.
Hey, there's a good mix of packing weight on and taking weight off.
For sure. But yeah. I came in, I got away from my mom's cooking. I dropped probably 5 pounds that summer, and Coach Fry was like, hey man, we're trying to lean on you and you're going to force me to redshirt you. I was able to get back up to like 260, 265 during the season. Just kind of went and survived that first year and did enough, and then re-earned the starting spot going into my sophomore year, and we were off to the races from there.
When you fast forward a little bit, Sonny Dykes comes in, Rhett Lashlee comes in. You were part of an offense that was extremely explosive. What was that 2019 team like?
Man, that team is very special to me and to everyone that's followed SMU. I mean, we still talk about that. I mean, you have Shane Buechele, obviously our fearless leader, threw for 1,000,000 yards. And if I must say, we were very fortunate to get the great quarterback play in 2019, following a little bit of a shaky performance in 2018. So it was a nice change of scenery, if you will. But Xavier Jones, Reggie Robinson, James Prochet, I mean, you name it, we had it. Kylan Granson. I mean, it was scary for teams that had to go out and play us. I mean, we put up 58 points in a game day game at Memphis, and unfortunately couldn't pull it out. But that next day we were like, boys, we're good enough to be one of the top 5 teams in the country offensively.
That game was just electric. I know it didn't go SMU's way, and I mean, for whatever reason, but it was just fun. I mean, that type of an atmosphere, I mean, that was awesome, right? I mean, that's kind of what college football is all about.
For sure. You dream about those kind of games. When you're growing up as a kid, you're like, man, you're watching the Sunday night game with Kirk Herbstreit, and you're like, one day that's going to be me. And even though that game didn't go our way, I mean, that was definitely a special moment. There were a lot of other great games that season. The triple overtime win against Tulsa, where we threw to James in the end zone first play that we got the ball in triple overtime. We were able to pull out that win against Tulane at the end of the year to clinch 10 wins. I mean, very, very special season.
And Rhett Lashlee's offense, what was that? I know Chad went fast, of course, tempo. Right. But what's Rhett Lashlee's offense like? What was it like learning that scheme there?
Right. I mean, he comes in and we did a lot of very similar concepts, I will say, but Rhett kind of lit a fire under our ass a little bit and allowed us to kind of get after him up front, which was awesome. No offensive lineman wants to sit back and sling the rock 80 times a game. You know, we want to be able to come off the ball and trust us in short yardage situation. And I say Coach Lashlee did a great job of mixing that, keeping us unpredictable. And then we were able to put together such a great season then. And really in 18, I would say, even though we didn't have a winning season overall as a team, we had some performances where you could see the building blocks coming.
And that 18 season, I think that was the one that ended on the road in Tulsa with kind of a kind of a salty end to that one.
Taste in your mouth, no doubt.
But that one, that loss, for everything I heard from kind of the outsider perspective, that really catapulted the work ethic that you guys needed to take all those steps in the right direction in 2019.
We came in, so after the week off, the mandatory week off at the end of 2018, we came in at the very end of the fall semester, and we got after it in the weight room because we did not want to have to go through that heartbreak, disappointment again. And that spring was probably one of the most competitive I've seen, NFL included, where guys are going out hungry to have a winning season, first of all, and second, hey, we want to win a championship, you know. And so we set the path, and we were able to get going in that direction.
And in 2021, I mean, starting all 12 games, you got that record. What was that? What was that like for you?
Highlight of my life, I will say. Unreal that a school like SMU that has been playing football since the 1910s, that I stand on top as the all-time starts leader. I'm very blessed that I was able to do that. It was definitely a lot of help and just blessings from Jesus Christ, you know. But that being said, guys like Kelvin Beachum that I'm passing on the list, you know, where it's like, oh my gosh, these are legends.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a really cool and emotional experience, frankly. I mean, I cried on senior day because one, you know, just of how special this university is to me, and two, just everything that this university did for me, you know, to get 2 degrees, to become the all-time starts leader, to win a ton of football games. I mean, 1 losing season in 5 years. I mean, that was really, really special.
And, I mean, 8-4 that year as well. You kind of ushered in, you know, that kind of that last bit, or go from the kind of the COVID era, so to speak. But you did get a win over TCU that year.
Yes,
What
sir.
was that? That made it 2 in a row. What does those wins over the Horned Frogs mean to you?
So to go all the way back to high school, I never talked to TCU. They didn't want any part of me. And then the second I had committed to SMU, they called me and they're like, hey, we're going to send a coach out to your school, and we're going to take a look at you and possibly offer you. And I was like, don't bother. Why would I go to our biggest rival when I just committed to the school across town? You've never wanted me before. Why do you want me now, other than to keep me from going to your biggest rival? So they can play all these games that they don't think it's a real rivalry. The skillet has never been hotter than it is right now. And so in 2019, to go to the Carter and get that surprise win that I think catapulted our season in 2019. And then the COVID game gets canceled. So we get to talk shop for 2 years about why we're the best DFW school. So we knew in 2021, we'd have to come out and really perform. And a little side note about that, TCU chose to wear the white uniforms in 2021 to keep us from wearing the white Dallas uniforms. And that's when we debuted the blue Dallas uniforms. So
Yeah.
little tidbit for you.
I love it's gotten super spicy, obviously, after 2021, which we don't need to get into the departure and all those things. But do you feel that around like the former players, though, and that there's that it's even spicier than it was, you know, during the just all the years it's been being played? Like there's that extra, you know, juice to it nowadays.
No doubt. In 2021, we flat out dominated them. I mean, we ran for 350 yards and we talked. We let them know on the field. And so ever since then, there's just been that building of the rivalry, top 10 rivalry in the country. I know I'm biased, but proximity, trophy game, and obviously with the departure and everything that's happened since, it means something to both teams nowadays, which is awesome to see, just as a college football fan. But as far as alumni, things like that, I know Florida State is already sold out. I'm expecting TCU to be yet another sellout.
Yeah, that there's just something about being in the same city, like 45 minutes to an hour. You know, I know traffic or whatever. But like it's such that UNC Duke that there's just not many of them around the country that they're literally a stone's throw away from each other, and you got to mingle with them, all throughout the weeks of the year, and
right.
You've got some friends that went there, maybe I don't know, but I've got a couple, so that's what happens when it's in DFW. What was it like watching Levine, finish off those 350 yards of rushing and just being a part of an O-line that, I mean, you guys were able to take the cake in that game and get it done, really?
Yes, sir. We got the ball back. I remember this because my dad and I were talking about this past weekend. We got the ball back with 5 minutes left, and the O-line coach challenged us. We had 3 seniors, possibly 4 on that O-line. And it was like, if you want to go get this done, now's the time. And we were able to put a drive together, run the clock out. And one of my favorite clips of all time is Levine diving forward with the Superman dive, arms out, for the first down. Really, really special moment.
Yeah, no question about it. And to kind of put a wrap on your career, how do you put it into words? What going through a coaching change, and I don't think the portal was, I guess, a thing for you in 2021, you were graduating, but it wasn't in when Chad left for Arkansas either.
So it wasn't
right?
a thing when Chad left for Arkansas.
Yeah.
I did have an opportunity to follow him, which, hey, now that it's 6 years ago, we can go ahead and lay that out there.
You're one of the best offensive linemen on the team, if not the best at that point. So like, why not? Why wouldn't he have done that?
So, with the whole portal deal being in 2021, the guys that chose to follow say, oh, I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't follow. So glad I didn't, man. It's just one of those deals where, like I've already said, just a very incredible college career experience, the ability to build relationships with all the guys that I ended up playing with, and just the really fond memories of everything that we were able to accomplish. The good, the bad, the ugly, man, it's the stuff you talk about for life. We talk about those first day of summer, where they're putting us through Navy SEAL workouts, and guys are just falling out. That's the kind of stuff you laugh about nowadays, and are just like, man, those were good times.
And to see the program now, Coach Lashlee comes back, and you during that time were bouncing around the NFL trying to get your footing there, but watching the program get into the ACC and all the traction with the new facility and all of that. One, got to be a little bit of jealousy, just like me. Sure. I have my Adidas cleats from the June Jones era. It's a different world now for SMU that they're living in.
For sure. Couldn't be happier for the guys, though, honestly. These guys have cut their teeth in the WAC, Conference USA, then the American, and we've had success at every level. And now it's time for SMU to take the next step in the program's history, and that's to get back to power conference football. I wasn't around for it. The Southwest Conference days, people still talk about that because of the quality of football that was in that conference, So I do think that SMU going out on a weekend and playing Florida State, Miami, schools like that, that's a huge deal for these guys. And then on top of the brand new facility, of course there's jealousy. But again, couldn't be happier for the guys. Coach Lashlee has made it very obvious to all the former players that we're more than welcome to come anytime we feel like. I hear there's a former players suite that they're putting together, which go ahead and put me down for that. But I'm super happy for the guys. Very well deserved. Super happy that Coach Lashlee is in command of this program. I think he's the perfect guy for the time right now.
You did spend 2022 with Tennessee Titans, a little bit of time with the New England Patriots, and then the Arizona Cardinals finished up 2023. You've had some opportunities to continue to play at different leagues and things like that. But what was the time in the pros like for you, and just getting that opportunity to compete and just learn?
Yeah, man. Lifelong dream to play in the NFL, as it is for many, many kids. Very challenging, very different than college football. It is a business at the end of the day where you can be one of the top 8 O-linemen, and then another team, for example, let's say the 49ers release an offensive lineman that your club likes more. Unfortunately, you're the odd man out at the end of the day. So it really, after starting 53 games at SMU and having limited adversity compared to what I faced in the NFL, it definitely gave me some more life experience, kind of taught me some more of how to keep working when I'm down or cut or whatever. You know, when I was on the couch for the first 8 weeks of 2022, my rookie year, you know, and I just kept my head down, kept grinding. I was heading to Houston with my wife for the weekend, and the Patriots called my agent, said, "Hey, we want to bring you in for a workout." Flew up there that Monday, made the team, was on the practice squad, which was just such a relief. Called my wife, you know, we got emotional about it because, little backstory, one of my really close family friends played for the Patriots growing up. That was my team growing up.
Wow.
So getting the opportunity to live and play in Foxborough for the back half of the 22 season with Bill Belichick and all those guys, absolute dream come true. I'm more thankful for my time in the NFL than anything. I don't feel any kind of disappointment because it ended. I'm just happy that it happened. You know, I got another opportunity after that season to go be in Arizona. I made the practice squad on the initial roster, traveled to the first game, and then unfortunately just got a bad back injury week 2. And I've had opportunities to go play UFL or possibly get back and be a camp body in the NFL. But man, at the end of the day, I have my health. I'm happy here in Dallas. And you get the opportunity for me to say, you know what, I'm choosing to be done, rather than saying I'm going to keep going. And then if I never get another call, then you just don't know. So my wife and I, we've had many conversations about this, and I truly am happy with my football career. And I'm okay with closing the book on that one.
As you should be happy about it. It was a stellar run at SMU, and you got to live out a dream. And what was that like? Did you get any FaceTime with Bill Belichick that man?
So I do have his personal phone number. I have his cell phone number. I sent him
next podcast guest. Cool. Yes, awesome.
I sent him a text whenever the Patriots did end up releasing him, just saying, "Hey, Coach, you're the GOAT. Everyone knows it. Super blessed to get the opportunity to learn from you, play under you." Didn't expect to get any kind of text back. A couple weeks go by, and I'm like, he probably didn't get it or didn't read it. Anyway, he shoots me a text back saying, "Hayden, really appreciate you, man. You know, God bless you." Something simple, and it felt like God texted me.
I'm sure. I mean, he basically, you know, for the NFL, he might as well have been for a while there. But that is awesome. That's so cool. And were you with Beach in Arizona?
I was, yes, sir.
What was that like? I mean, you mentioned, you know, passing. Did he give you any grief? I know he's the consummate gentleman. I don't know if he would, but
Kelvin is the ultimate form of class. Honestly, he is what SMU wants to make as their face of the university. Honestly, he's a world-class businessman. He's going to have no problems when he's retired from the NFL. You know, I'm sure he's going to go do something great, whether that's running a business, running some kind of nonprofit. But no, having another Mustang, not only on my team, but in my position room, was really cool. Just getting to, you know, talk some smack to the guys from U of H or TCU or whatever on the team. It was super fun. Got to learn a lot from him. He's a guy that you look at, guys who look like they're playing in slow motion because they're so under control. A guy that I rarely saw lose a rep because he's done it. He's an ultimate veteran and just knows how to get the job done without exerting a crazy amount of energy, which means that you're able to play deep into the fourth quarter and deep into a season. And that's why he's had a 10-plus year career in the NFL.
Yeah, it's wild. I remember we were only on the team together 1 year, but what a leader, great guy he is and was for SMU in particular when he was on the team. And he was also a part of a resurgence just like yourself. So when you got done playing, you spent some time. All of a sudden, I was seeing you out at spring practice, a couple spring balls before my son was born. What was that like to get back, to get welcome back in particular, where Coach Lashlee trusts you to be around the team like that and just gain that experience?
Really grateful for that opportunity. You know, it was actually Mr. Rick Hart that I went to first and talked about the opportunity. Just, hey, I didn't know if there was anything, whether that was in administrative or if that was in football, where it was just some kind of role that I could carve out just to kind of see what college athletics is like from the other side, you know, without the helmet on. And so he introduced me to Coach Garen Justice, who I have a great relationship with, have a lot of respect for. And he was like, hey, man, look, you built this deal. Anytime that you want to come around and be with the guys, you're more than welcome. And I took that literally. So anytime that I was released or not with the team, or even in the spring, man, I'd just come hang out. I would watch film with the guys. In practice, I was kind of like a third O-line coach. I was just kind of a way for me to stay involved, kind of still see some of the guys that I was friends with, but also help coach them at what I felt like was a high level. And the reason I say that is, yes, 2 years of experience. And I brought that in, and Coach Justice looked at me like, yeah, man, I've been on this level. He is a very extremely high level offensive line coach. He is going to get those boys ready for the season. And I cannot wait to watch this current unit that they've got.
Let's go into that current unit a little bit. PJ Williams, left tackle, Logan Parr, Savion Byrd, left guard. Logan Parr's returning, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Savion's there working as well. J.O., Justin Osborne, moves to center.
Mm-hmm.
Kai Clark, right guard. Right tackle right now, Nate Anderson. Out of those 5, you got to see 4 in action, I guess, with Savion 5.
Yep.
What does that group look and feel like to you? I don't know if you want to compare them, but just in general, what's the makeup of that unit going into the season?
From a talent perspective, Billy, this is probably the most talented offensive line I've seen at SMU in the time that I've been around and the film that I've watched. I mean, and the reason that is I don't think we would have been able to do that if certain guys hadn't have moved on. I think Justin Osborne is getting a hell of an opportunity to go be the starting center for SMU with his athleticism, and people undersell his brain, what he's got between the ears. I've worked with him as far as the coaching side and working with them, and I've worked with him as hey man, I'm still trying to make it in the NFL. You want to work out? And so we've trained together that way too, which was kind of a unique experience where you get to coach a guy like a coach Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday we're working out together, running outside zone in a combo. So that was a really fun deal. I'm super excited to watch the rest of the crew that they've brought in. Logan, Ben, Savion. I think our interior is gonna have a really fun time in this offense. And then I think our tackles are developing extremely, extremely quickly, and I think they're going to be primed for a lot of success.
What is the key for Coach Justice when it comes to getting his point across? And I always am interested to talk with him because he is so thoughtful,
Mm-hmm.
and he is kind of almost like he's kind of an artist there. He'll joke about tinkering with guys in different positions and just kind of seeing where the magic takes him a little bit, and also not afraid to kind of shake things up as well.
For sure. He's a technician at the end of the day, man. I've had O-line coaches that are all about attitude, but that only goes so far, man. You have to have the right tools for the job. And so when Coach Justice is teaching these guys at such a high level, such as getting our backside hand involved on the backside of outside zone with a stab on the 3 technique, so you can turn his shoulder so the backside tackle can scoop him easier, or as far as different ways to do footwork, the way that they practice extremely, extremely hard. And they do that so when Coach Lashlee is calling these tempo plays, that they're not gassed at the end of these quarters. They're used to it because that's how individual is run from Coach Justice.
And for this offense to be successful this year, I think they need to obviously get improvement across the board, the general development that you'd expect of everyone throughout an offseason. But I think the key is finding that inside run game development. I mean, was that something that you kind of picked up as a point of emphasis? Because I'm with you. I think you look at Logan Parr, who I joked with him today when we were interviewing him. He's the highest rated player on SMU's team in the video game. You've got Savion, who's athletic. You've got J.O. You've got Kai Clark. Those guys are all pretty physical, nasty. I just think they're going to have a good time getting vertical and opening up some holes.
Where you get some magic is, like I talked about, you have guys that are technicians, but with the attitude of they're going to rip your face off. And that's what really fires me up about this interior crew is they're going to come off the ball and they're not going to be sorry about it. If I was Coach Lashlee, I would have no problem on 3rd and 2 leaning on our O-line and just letting them go to work. Because I know I have on CFB, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess we do have to start this dynasty league now. Randall Joyner, who obviously as well, he and I were in a online dynasty all the way back when we were playing together briefly when I was on the team. But Zach Line, Joey Fontana, shout out the whole crew that was in, Ryan Walker, KP, and now the game is back. So we need to get another round fired up. But
yes, sir.
With the overall team Coach Lashlee is really, I think, done a nice job of setting the standard very early in terms of competition. And it goes from everything to, from Ulysses Bentley when he left. And I love Ulysses. I was a big fan of him. He was coming out of high school, saw him down there in the Houston area. But he moves on in part because, they added some competition in that room and they wanted to see guys get it going. And I think he was young at the time and moves on to Ole Miss. He's doing well, but they set that tone right away. And I think it's permeated each year through the team even more. Is that something that is like maybe one of his calling cards of this program now?
I would say for sure. Competition brings out the best in everybody. As much as you don't like it as a starter when they're bringing in a guy that you've got to look over your shoulder for, it makes you work harder. It makes you really develop your craft. When a guy is nipping at your heels, you don't want to sit out of practice because you're like, I'm scared that this dude is going to take my spot because he's right there, man. And when you've got more than just the backup doing that, when you've got the third team guys, you have your rotational backs, receivers, linebackers, they're all ready to play on Saturday. That's when you know you've got something special, man, that you can really plug and play anybody in that room and you're going to be able to go out and have a lot of success. Coach Lashlee has done a great job with the transfer portal, NIL, and all that as far as bringing in guys that we know are going to make a difference on our team, even when it's in a position like left guard with Logan Parr, where we know that we have a good player there, but we're going to try to make the team even better because that's what you have to do. And that's what my coach has always told me of, hey, I've got to go out recruit you. Even though you're one of our guys and we love you and all that, I'm not doing my job if I'm not finding the next best guy.
With this team, what are your overall thoughts? If you have a season prediction, you could give it, but just overall, where do you think they are in terms of being ready to be competitive this year? And if you want to share how you see it playing out, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, man. I see this team as when I was there, a lot was talked about and emphasized of, hey, we're not playing one power game anymore. We're playing 10. So we're going to have to play on a completely different level consistently. And that's the key. It's easy to get fired up for one TCU game a year and then follow it against South Florida. But when you have to play BYU, TCU, Florida State, Louisville, all in back-to-back games, it is challenging. But I think when these guys are able to keep it consistent and level and not ride the roller coaster, get so high and amped up for the TCUs and then not show up for the HBUs, they're going to have to, or HCU, excuse me, different.
I think you played HBU.
I did play HBU, yes, sir. But anyway, I think if this team comes out and they're at the same level every week, I think they're more than ready to go. I think this is going to be a really fun first year in the ACC. A lot of new places for these guys to see, but I think by the time they get to midseason, I don't think there's going to be such that wow factor anymore when you go on the road. I think it's just going to be business as usual. And I do see this team as more mature than probably the teams that I was on, to where I think anyway they're going to go into Louisville and be like, we have a job to do, versus when we walked into Michigan, at the big house, we're like, hey, we're playing at the big house. It was more about that than the actual game. I think nowadays guys are hungry. They got the taste of winning a championship last season and they're ready to do it again. I don't feel like they're waiting, hey, it's our first year in a big conference. We're going to go out and hopefully be bowl eligible. They're trying to win a championship. So my season prediction, I've talked about this with my brother. I think SMU I think our floor is bowl eligibility. I think our ceiling is playing for a championship.
Yeah, it really can. I was talking with, I was doing a little radio thing today, and it's wild to kind of say it like this, but it sometimes it's nice when a national guy agrees with you. I was on with Roy Philpott, and he's covered the ACC for a long time. And I said, this team the expectations have to be get to bowl eligibility. There's a lot of investments been made in this team. There's a lot of, mature guys on this team, 27 seniors or so. But if they hit and things pan out the way they kind of hope and think that they can surprise. They can make it all the way to Charlotte. You just have to find a way to split against the defending champs and the runner-up last year. So it's and of course win the rest of the schedule, but it's at least real. And I think Coach Lashlee's teams have finished well too. So that I feel good about overall is this team finishing the season well, regardless of if they go through a little bit of a stretch there on that meat of the schedule.
The Dykes era was they remember December. This team they play well in December. And that's something I'm really excited about. I'm excited that this team has the maturity to be able to go out and do that late in the season, because it's hard, man. It's hard going to class, starting training camp. So let's back up. This team started training camp the last week of July. Usually in college, you start training camp first week of August. So this team has a jump on it because they're playing in week 0. There's 3 bye weeks this year because of how the season works out. It's going to be a long season, and I do think that is going to hurt some of these other less mature teams. But I think this team is primed. This team does have a lot of leadership seniors now. Elijah Roberts, is a guy where he's played a lot of ball now, and he's going into one of his last years, and he wants to win a championship for sure. Yeah. And it's awesome watching the competition between him and our offensive line. I'll give a lot of props to the defensive line too. They've got some dogs over there. They brought in some guys in the portal where we go out during the spring. We're like, boys, we're going to get better today, which is awesome.
Yeah. That defensive line, we could do a whole nother podcast on that. I've been pretty amazed by what they've been able to do, quite frankly. It makes it very difficult to get a read on the offense in practice. Yes, let's just put it that way. But look, Hayden, we've got all season and beyond for plenty more conversation. I'm so excited to have you on board. You're an awesome dude. You're a great player at SMU and had a great career from high school all the way through the NFL. So SMU fans are thrilled to have you, I'm sure, already, as they're finding out, and pumped for this season.
Billy, I'm so glad to be here. Can't wait for the season, man, as everybody else can. Football comes back this week, man. Life is better in the fall. I'm super pumped for it. Can't wait for this year. Again, thanks so much for bringing me back.
Yeah, I assume you're a banned fall weddings guy. Just a hunch.
Hey, mine was in February after the Super Bowl.
There you go. Awesome. Well, Hayden Howerton, thanks for coming on to the On the Pony Express podcast. Excited to have you on the team. And everyone, throw him a follow on X or Twitter, whatever you call it these days. And look forward to having him on many more episodes and with us at ontheponyexpress.com. Just me now. That was awesome. Hayden and I have talked about that actually nonstop for really the last week or so after we ran into each other at the Former Players Barbecue. We're excited to have many more former players on the podcast. We're going to involve some other guys as well here and there. But Hayden, I mean, he kind of led the charge, and it was awesome to make it happen so quickly, and we're pumped to have him. But before we get into any more SMU-Nevada preview or talk about some of the takeaways from this week, we do have to remind you guys that our friends at AKM Turf and Greens can totally remake your backyard into an incredible, beautiful putting and chipping green, or just a space that you can relax, not have to worry about maintaining the grass, making it a statement of your backyard for your friends and family to enjoy, whether it be completely taking out all the turf and taking out all the grass and making it all turf, or doing a combo of rocks and different landscaping and things like that. They can handle it all. They just did a massive project for McKinney Christian in the month of August, getting it ready for recess, for school to start. And it's incredible. Can't wait to share it with you guys. You see all the little attention to detail they got. They can give it to you all. So reach out to our friends at AKM Turf and Greens at info@akmturfandgreens.com. Alex Carpenter, former professional golfer, leads his team, and he wants to lead you to the promised land of a beautiful backyard and get that $500 off your backyard project when you mention the On the Pony Express podcast or the code PonyUp. So reach out to AKM Turf and Greens. Let them create the backyard of your dreams and cut down on all that time spent cutting grass, and you can get back to focusing on the ACC and SMU football. Because look, with the Power Conference, SMU is going to demand a lot more attention of your time, and we're about to get to that point here, just a couple days away from SMU-Nevada. They will kick off at 7 p.m. Central Time, CBS Sportsnet. Dean Rowski, our staff writer, is getting thrown right into the fire. He is going to be in Reno for On the Pony Express, covering his first college football game on his first weekend of being an SMU student. I will be watching as well from the confines of my home or wherever I can get it. We'll be in Maine, enjoying some cooler weather. but that is because Vandy canceled. So, it worked out that I was getting a little reprieve anyway from the heat. So really excited to get to work on this season. And we've had a great run at ontheponyexpress.com. Got to remind you guys, use our kickoff code. It's kickoff24 for 50% off annual subscriptions. That runs through Saturday night. I've been pubbing it. We've had a bunch of people jump on board, and we're really excited about that. But kickoff24 at ontheponyexpress.com. Use the code when you join the website, and you can get all the inside scoop on how the team looks, injuries, trending, with recruits and things like that. So check us out at ontheponyexpress.com. All right. SMU-Nevada, kickoff 7 p.m. Central Time. The team leaves Friday. They're playing a little bit of altitude, nothing crazy. It shouldn't really impact the team. Wasn't really even talked about with the media this week with the coaches. It's just not something that is as pressing with that altitude. They're not playing at an insane level of altitude. And this is a team that has a lot of depth. And I think that depth is going to be on display Saturday evening, 5 p.m. Local time, as SMU takes on Jeff Choate and the Wolf Pack. And that is Wolf Pack, different from NC State. 2 words, Wolf Pack, Nevada Wolf Pack. So with that, guys, SMU is going to start Preston Stone. Rhett Lashlee made the announcement this week, and he said that he earned it in fall camp with his play. And Kevin Jennings is going to play as well, and he has earned that as well, Rhett Lashlee said. And if you've been following the podcast lately, ever really since Casey Woods really brought it up out in the open, we've kind of said it behind the scenes that they're competing, but we expected Preston to start, and we expected Kevin to get opportunities. And I do believe that's what's going to happen. And barring some kind of weird start to the game with maybe like special teams, kick return, touchdown, things like that, or defense, pick six, and kind of flipping kind of their script. I think we see both of them play against Nevada for SMU, and also they deserve it. And this is a team that, on paper is favored around 24 points last I looked, and that's the type of performance I'm expecting. And I said it on the Walking Strong podcast with Bill. I was kind of thinking 45-3. I was talking with some people at our On the Pony Express happy hour earlier this week, and I think I said 45-3, 45-10, maybe the garbage time touchdown, maybe something thrown in there that's a little weird. But offensively, Nevada is going to start Brendan Lewis, their returning quarterback from last year. He did not have a good run there for the Wolfpack under the prior coaching staff, and now is getting this opportunity because you're looking at a quarterback situation that has a transfer in Chubba Purdy, who transferred in from Iowa State or FSU, one of the two, and Nebraska. Yeah, Nebraska and Florida State. There we go. And so he's coming into this looking to start, and he's injured. He's got a banged up shoulder. So Brendan Lewis is not the best quarterback out there, and they're going through a lot of changes up front. They're going to have some redshirt freshmen starting. They do have Sean Dollars, a really good, talented player for the Wolfpack, who's coming back and is going to be a back that SMU has to keep an eye on. He led the team in carries last year, 151 carries. He was also helped out by them bringing in Savion Red from Texas. They've added some other guys on this football team to kind of shore it up overall from big name programs. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is a program that has gone 3-9 each of the last 2 seasons. So 2-10. I've been saying 3-9. I'm trying to give you some credit, Wolfpack, but 2-10 at back-to-back seasons, and they're in a completely different place comparatively to SMU and what the Mustangs are bringing into this season. You guys heard Hayden talk about it, and Hayden's been around and look, I mean, he's seen SMU up close. He's seen what they've put together, and he knows it's a different situation than it was when he was at SMU, and he kind of talked a little bit about that when it came to just the players and overall, even mentioned kind of the maturity of the group. And I think getting out to practice this week, it's kind of business as usual for SMU. This is a really mature team. they're going to come out there, I think, and even last year against Louisiana Tech, and I think it was 38-14 that SMU ended up winning against La Tech to open the season last year. Even that kind of started slow, and then they really kind of broke it open and got it rolling and things like that. But for SMU this year, I would be surprised if we saw a little bit of a letdown from this team, and I just have them winning big. So that's kind of where I'm at, and it's hard to preview in a sense because there are so many changes to Nevada. I really like Jeff Choate. I think long term he's going to be just fine at that program and get it back on track. But he doesn't have the guys he needs right now to really make a statement and knock off an SMU team, and in the midst of what is the program truly hitting its stride with Rhett Lashlee at the helm. So I'm really excited to break this one down. We are excited to bring you guys the post-game podcast again this year, so look for that after the game. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it live this year or if I'm going to record it and get it up immediately after, but that we'll tackle that. I might just record it live and get it out, record it and get it out very quickly after, just because it gets out there a little bit more. So we'll still take live questions and things like that for our on the ponyexpress.com subscribers. They can submit them when the game ends, and I'll get to them on that side of things. So SMU offensively is going to have to account for guys like Drew Watts at linebacker. He's a big returning player for them. Tongi Mateneola. I probably butchered the heck out of that, but both of them are really good linebackers for Nevada that are returning, and SMU is going to have to keep an eye on them. And this offensive line, we're going to get our first look at it. And I do think, to what Hayden was saying, the interior is going to be in really good shape. I think PJ Williams had the best camp maybe on the entire offense, just what he was able to do, how physical he was, how he settled in so well. And he's got a chance to keep Preston Stone or Kevin Jennings or whoever's at quarterback. Really nice, calm, cool pocket, just like this Roback shirt that I've got on. I got sent by our friends at Roback the SMU line and this polo and the Triple D hoodie, which you'll see on the postgame show whenever I record that after the Nevada game. And just want to say, check out Roback. They've got their new line of SMU gear. I'm waiting on them to send me a little promo code action, but you can find it online. They've got Gerald Ford Stadium look. They've got some other pullovers on there. Really nice stuff. And they will give you a discount as well on your first order. So check them out. Roback.com. Really appreciate them sending me some swag. Get ready for the season. And again, just really nice moisture wicking polo that looks pretty sharp, I would say, as well. I need all the help I can get. And I got that from my friends at Roback, Preston Stone, Kevin Jennings. They're going to get their help from PJ Williams protecting their blind side. So with that 45-3, 45-10 is kind of what I'm settling on for SMU. Might tweak it here and there in terms of the 45-3 or 10 in the written preview, but that's the type of performance I'm expecting. Year 3, Rhett Lashlee coming off of an AAC championship. I think that defense, that offense, everybody involved in last year's end of the season against BC, they've got a little bit of a kind of a nasty taste in their mouth. The defense talked a little bit about that this week. Kobe Wilson mentioned that, and I just think watching them work out, they're going to be ready to go. They were out there on Tuesday and Wednesday. We got our looks at them, and I think everybody is tired of seeing the same guys over and over again. And even it's really heated up over the last couple of weeks too. The first week of fall camp was really chill, quite honestly, for the players, for the media, anyone who was out there watching the Mustangs. It was really nice weather, and this past couple of weeks, I think the intensity has really ramped up. And couple takeaways for you guys, and we'll close out the podcast and let you guys go here. But I am going to release my depth chart review podcast for our subscribers only pod. I'll get that up on Thursday at some point and get you guys a little extra listening there for your game weekend or killing your Friday or whatever. But a couple of notes on the depth chart just overall. Quarterback, Preston Stone, Kevin Jennings. Running back, Brashard Smith, LJ Johnson, Jalen Knighton, all given the or there. I'm expecting Brashard Smith to start at this point, and they're going to give him a go. Just how explosive he is, what he brings to the table. They want to see that in action pretty quickly because they kind of know what they have in LJ Johnson and Jalen Knighton. Tight ends, RJ Maryland, Matthew Hibner, or Adam Moore. Of course, you're going to have RJ be the starter. Left tackle, we talked about PJ Williams. Jack Lampton is a former a walk-on still. I'm not sure if he's been, brought on to full scholarship yet, but actually played at Mater Dei and is from California. 6'4", 278 is what he's listed at online. He did play one game last year against Prairie View A&M. He's been, and you can see some of the clips on YouTube if you're watching, he's been the backup left tackle in camp, as you see him right there. But when I did my projecting the depth chart, I mean, quite honestly, like, I don't know if there was a major injury and there needed to be a change for a long time. I don't know if Jack would be that answer. I don't know if J.O. would move out of center and they would kick him at left tackle or what, but people were kind of surprised. I mean, look, Jack worked his tail off to earn that. I mean, I think, you're taking away a little bit because right now the situation at tackle for SMU is this. You have Nate Anderson, who's going to start game one. You have Andrew Chamblee, who's working his way back from injury. Caleb Johnson still factoring in. They're going to redshirt King Large. They don't really have as many offensive tackle bodies that are ready right now. I mean, I guess Kayshawn Sapp could play there, but King Large has been playing at tackle. He's actually, I'm 99% sure he's been the third string tackle in actual practice, but Jack has also earned it. I mean, he doesn't look out of place, and I just don't know how that will actually work if a major injury situation needed a long-term solution left tackle. And I'm trying not to take away from what Jack has done, but that's just kind of the reality when you have, if you can get Andrew Chamblee back, then you have Nate Anderson who can move, or you can have Savion Byrd who's athletic, who could even play a little bit of left tackle since he's used to playing on the left. Got all sorts of options, but that was kind of one of the surprises, I guess, of the depth chart in a way, just him being listed there. And then you have Logan Parr, who did run with the ones. Looks like he's going to play. They're going to work him back. He met with the media today. He had some great lines, too. You guys are going to have to watch that video. And then Savion Byrd. And then just like Garen Justice said, Justin Osborne at center. Ja'Kai Clark will be the backup center. Right guard, Ja'Kai Clark. And then Ben Sparks. And then you have Nate Anderson at right tackle and Caleb Johnson, the former Notre Dame transfer, backing him up. Defense, you have Elijah Roberts getting started defensive end. You have Cam Robertson behind him. And then along the interior, you have I forgot the wide receivers. First of all, you have Romello Brinson or Jordan Hudson, Keyshawn Smith or Moochie Dixon, Jake Bailey or Roger Daniels. Pretty straightforward there. Jared Harrison Hunt, back defense, is the starting defensive tackle, the 3-tech. We expected that. Jonathan Jefferson, I think, has really shown some explosiveness. He's going to get the move to the backup defensive tackle spot, or Corey Roberson, Tank Booker, and Mike Lockhart at the nose tackle spot. Jafari Harvey at the bandit with Isaiah Smith and Billy Walton in there. Ahmad Walker, Alex Kilgore, Kobe Wilson, 3 linebackers. Those are the 3 you're going to see rotating a lot. And then maybe the biggest surprise, Jalen Davis Robinson or AJ Davis starting with Deuce Harbin as the backup. Brandon Crosley starting at corner, Jahari Rogers or William Speedy Nettles behind him. And then you'll see a lot of Jonathan McGill, Ahmad Moses, or Isaiah Wacobia at free safety and strong safety. And then nickel, CJ Sanders with Jonathan McGill as the backup, or Jaden Miller-Jones, who's going to be really good. Isaac Pearson's your punter. Colin Rogers, your kicker and kickoff. Rashard Smith, kick returner. Keyshawn Smith backs him up. Roger Daniels, Jake Bailey handling the punt return duties. Will Benton the 4th back again for another season as long snapper. And Isaac Pearson is the new holder, replacing Ryan Bichevsky. So with that, guys, I'm tired of previewing football, tired of talking about camp. I'm ready for this SMU football season to get underway. I am going to release my preseason predictions on Thursday. I'm not going to talk about them. I might get to it in the members only, subscribers only podcast, but I just don't know, because we've been doing a ton of podcasts, been talking my I guess my wife's ear off, because she could kind of hear me across the house working from home. But it is football time, and I can't be more excited to get it rocking with you guys. So check us out at onthePonyExpress.com, and we will have your full coverage. If you guys have friends who aren't on the site, tell them this is the week, the deal, the kickoff sale. The code is kickoff24. Go to onthePonyExpress.com and jump on board with us. And look, you can also jump on board with our friends at Status Jet. That's the place to really get where you're going from point A to point B with that incredible level of luxury. Status Jet offers you a discount on a round trip flight, whether it be big jet, small jet, helicopter, whatever. They use that promo code PonyUpACC for a discount on a round trip flight. I can tell you what, David Henry and his team support SMU athletics just like unlike anyone else, with the way they, have this discount worked out. It's pretty special opportunity for you to use it, whether it be game days, whether it be work trips. We've had some on the Pony Express subscribers reach out and just have the conversation with them and see if it's worth it, see if it's the right thing for you, whether you want to go in super early for a game, a couple days, play some golf somewhere, or if you want to be in and out on the same day. They can handle it all for you. So reach out to statusjet.com today. Use code PonyUpACC. With that, guys, this has been another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will get you guys the subscribers only pod, talking about the depth chart, maybe a little season prediction piece to it. And we've also got an exciting Walking Strong that dropped earlier today with former NFL great Drew Bledsoe, one of the most incredible stories. And I was pretty pumped to interview him. My dad grew up in Buffalo, so I grew up watching a little bit of Drew Bledsoe play for the Bills. So with that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great time. If you're in Reno or wherever you're watching, the SMU Mustangs kick off the 2024 football season, 7 p.m. Central on CBS Sportsnet. The first year of the ACC. It's here. Enjoy it, everyone. Have a great time watching SMU-Nevada. We'll be here for all your coverage at onthePonyExpress.com.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU-on3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to onthePonyExpress.com for more coverage.